I will leave the club at the end of the season.
And he spotted that! Oh, the corner! They tore Barcelona! Bournemouth were prized wide open.
Fabulous, fabulous goal on the counter.
And I can say it's the biggest honor I can imagine to be here. For me, one of the biggest clubs in the world. But is very proud. She's very proud. So I'm a totally normal guy. I'm the normal one, maybe, if you want this. Yeah.
Since his arrival, he has galvanized the fan base, making Anfield a fortress while dominating both domestic and European football. While his trophy cabinet isn't in the realms of a Pep Guardiola, their ability to compete at the top with such a small net spend is hugely impressive. He hasn't had the same heavy pocketbooks as some of his competitors. Behind the scenes, he has Liverpool running with surgical precision, highlighted by the state-of-the-art training ground that was built in 2020. Strategically designed for the manager's office to be able to oversee all pitches and give young players the ability to integrate with the first team seamlessly. His personality at times can be difficult to predict. In one press conference, he'll be looking in good spirits and joking with reporters, and the next, he looks like he might punch a reporter in the face.
I think it's soft, but I think it is a penalty.
So then we can stop the interview, because I only want to talk to people who have a little bit of understanding of football.
This is the story of how Jurgen Klopp revolutionized Liverpool Football Club. It's hard not to have some respect for Jurgen Klopp. Klopp was average during his playing days, but one thing he did have bags of was loyalty. Playing for 10 years with Mainz before later managing them, he would have mixed success with the club, gaining promotion in 2004, but then getting relegated in 2007. His true meteoric rise began when he took over at Borussia Dortmund. While coaching the German side, he was able to upset the dominance of Bayern Munich and win incredible back-to-back titles in the Bundesliga. The same Dortmund that was facing financial struggles just 2 years prior. His managerial style was effective in Europe too, getting to a Champions League final and losing in dramatic fashion to who else but Bayern Munich. A hugely entertaining side, playing the now popularized gegenpressing, which focuses on high-intensity pressing, creating a number of chances, while also conceding a few goals along the way. This brand of football, alongside the success at Borussia Dortmund, Liverpool set their sights on the German. They had recently lost the league by just 2 points, in a hotly contested Premier League season which saw them score an impressive 100 league goals. However, midway through the following year, they made the decision to replace Brendan Rodgers with Jurgen Klopp, one of the greatest appointments in recent history, not only revolutionizing, but also rejuvenating the club. So, how did he do it? In his first transfer window at the club, Klopp had a fire sale, selling Jordan Ibe, Martin Skrtel, Joe Allen, Christian Benteke, and Luis Alberto, to name a few. In their place, marquee acquisitions like Mane, Matip, and Wijnaldum were added to the squad. This would be the pattern of future windows. If you didn't fit the plan or your attitude wasn't up to the standard, you were out. Of course, Klopp wasn't an oracle. Not every signing was a hit. Both Clavin and Karius also joined in the first window under Klopp, and they were distinctly average additions. But what was a constant in Liverpool's transfer policy was getting value for money. The following summer of 2017 would highlight just this, when they purchased Mohamed Salah for £34 million. A player with lightning pace, the attacking positioning, and the individuality with an eye for goal. Of course, these attributes would be a dream for any football signing, but Salah had the mentality to match. With high energy and even higher standards, he's ended up being one of the greatest players to ever play in the Premier League. Just for perspective, all while costing less than half of the current Manchester United winger, Antony, who was purchased for a whopping £82 million. Klopp's strength lies with delegation, and he often speaks about how talented the people around him are. For example, just look at Michael Edwards in regards to the transfer process.
And a lot of talks are to do with agents and all that stuff. Why should I do this? It's not about having, you need a network, you need a lot of people, little talks, big talks. I'm involved in all big talks, but not a small thing. So that's not a lot of more time for me or something.
The finest move, arguably, in all of Klopp's tenure was the offloading of Coutinho for £142 million. Then in turn, being able to spend that money on the likes of Alisson and Virgil van Dijk. Being the best in their positions, this elevated Liverpool to an elite level, and they've stayed there ever since. And I still recall the backlash. Virgil van Dijk, £75 million. It's so expensive for a center back. Little did we know that would be discount shopping comparative to his output on the actual pitch. Again, it's not just their quality, but the mentality in the group. Just as Manchester United would dominate the Premier League with a dressing room of personalities, Liverpool was starting to do the same. Henderson, Robertson, James Milner, Virgil van Dijk, the list goes on and on. The frugality of Liverpool's transfer dealings can't be understated either. A net spend of just $40 million per season in the current era of inflated Premier League pricing is just one of the reasons why Liverpool has been the envy of many during Klopp's tenure. Liverpool was recruiting players, but how were they winning games? Infamously known for his heavy metal football, Klopp likes his teams to attack with fluidity. In their prime, the front three of Mane, Firmino, and Salah were deadly. What a triangle up front. Instant counterattacks with intricate individualism, just unstoppable. It wasn't in Liverpool's DNA to pass for the sake of it. They were by far more vertical compared to many top teams like Manchester City. The plan was to get it to the forward players as quickly as possible and give those attackers options. Midfielders like Wijnaldum, Milner, and Henderson were compounding key factors to this success with their high stamina, allowing the team to press for large portions of the game using the gegenpress strategy. The gegenpress was first implemented in Germany under former Manchester United interim manager Ralf Rangnick. It essentially just means counterpressing. Instead of regrouping when losing the ball, the team would swarm the opponent in groups of three to cause uncertainty and often resulting in winning the ball back quickly. Combine this with lightning quick attackers, a robust defense. It should be no surprise that this team was able to dominate for so long. Just as Virgil van Dijk and Alisson were keys in helping improve the defense, the addition of Fabinho is often overlooked. He was able to balance the squad in both the attack and the defense, allowing them to push on for titles with style and substance. And since his departure, the team has struggled for consistency in that department. And when I look through the history books, I think the holding midfielder might be the most underrated role of all time. When we talk Barcelona or even the Spanish national team, it's the headlines: Iniesta, Xavi. I would argue Sergio Busquets just as integral to the success. Gattuso at Milan. Gilberto Silva, maybe the least fancy Brazilian of all time. Even present day, Rodri for Manchester City is equally as important as any player on that squad. To attempt this kind of strategy would require a team with unity and mental strength, one of the greatest qualities of Klopp. He often formed a siege mentality, going after journalists as a collective or referees in press conferences to make the team focus and play for one another. Something Alex Ferguson was also excellent at. He has altered his tactics over the years to be slightly more methodical in how they break down oppositions. However, the core values of Klopp's play style remain. They say that a team is often a representation of the manager's personality. And that definitely rings true when you think Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. Jamie Carragher, former Liverpool captain and club legend, has often said that no club like Liverpool puts so much on the manager. The players aren't worshipped and eulogized as much as the managers are. Whether it be Shankly, Paisley, or Dalglish, they are gods to the people of Liverpool. It was a key for Klopp to find unity with what is a huge and passionate fan base. His brand of football and personality made this easy. He instantly formed a bond with the city of Liverpool and its residents. And let's be realistic. Whoever you support, it's difficult to not like Klopp. In some ways, maybe Klopp was the 12th man. Could have been the 13th. When they played at home at their best, they were the greatest team in the world while playing in front of the Anfield faithful. This resulted in an incredible 68-game unbeaten streak for the Reds, who were finally beaten by Burnley in 2021. The siege mentality, it spilled into the fan base. It was Liverpool versus the world. And Liverpool, more often than not, they came out victorious. Behind the scenes, Klopp had also assembled great unity amongst his staff. As we mentioned earlier in the video, Klopp described himself as someone who is good at finding people better than him in specific areas. Outsourcing, if you will. This explains why he has a massive 22-strong group running things with him. From nutritionists to masseuses and analysts, every additional role allows Klopp to focus on what he is there to do: win games.
Having now a sporting director is only one step. So we are working the whole day for the good of LFC. And at the end, the most important thing each week is the game. But between the two games, a lot of things to do. So I don't have more time now for different things.
Klopp was still at the heart of everything. But people far more qualified than him in those areas allowed him to focus solely on the team. Another example of the unity that Klopp created with Liverpool was his treatment of everyone at the club. And I mean everyone. 80 employees were working with the players when he first arrived. There was a bit of a disconnect at the time, so he had all 80 employees and the squad introduce themselves one by one. Klopp has been a substantial reason why the value of Liverpool has nearly doubled to $2 billion and beyond. The infrastructure is just as impressive as the results on the pitch. He is a charismatic leader who has the humility and the intelligence to delegate key roles to those better suited. He sets the highest standards and gets the results. Now, he has decided to call it a day after 9 years at Anfield, citing the lack of energy. After everything is said and done, Klopp will be leaving Liverpool, achieving exactly what he set out to do.
It's not so important what people think when you come in. It's much more important what people think when you leave.